Well, hello, family. Today is Wednesday, February the 18th, 2:30 in the afternoon. We just finished listening to your tape that was dated the 10th, 12th of February, I think. I've already put it away, so I can't tell. We enjoyed seeing the pictures of you two in the rickshaws. And they're, by the way, they're very good pictures. Look like you had a wonderful time. And we enjoyed your letter that you enclosed, and also the recipe for the cake. I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to wait until I get some company coming here, though, because that's a great big cake, unless it can be frozen. I don't know. And I will, the next time I go to the grocery store, get some of that garlic cheese dressing for you. I'm sure I can find some of it. I'll enclose it in the next pack. I don't have to hurry with this tape because you're going to be leaving on Friday and won't be back for 10 or 11 days, so I have plenty of time to do everything that I want to do. I thought maybe we had mentioned the Millers to you and the Browns to you, but apparently we hadn't. I failed to tell you that when we got down here, I did not have Brown's address with us down in Chokoloskee, so I couldn't get in touch with them until Calvin and Doris got here. But we had a real nice visit with them and a nice time. They're going to be moving the 1st of March up to a trailer place in out of Fort Myers. Otto and Audrey are getting ready to go on a cruise. I think they told you about that. We have not seen them as yet. We were with Gates last night and played cards, and I think he said they were coming up about the middle of next week. I guess they're going to leave from here. I don't know. There's 3 couple of them going on this little cruise. I think it's only for about 10 days at the most. So they will all be gone while Randy is here, and Cheryl. And once again, we're looking forward to seeing them. You mentioned that they were not going to try and go over to Disney World. Well, Grandpa and I had made up our minds, if they're still willing, that we're going to take them, and we'll foot the bill for them. We thought maybe 2 days, though, would be enough. I know it'll be enough for Grandpa and I. And on the way back, we thought maybe we'd hit Cypress Garden. Now, this is going to depend on whether they want to do it or not. If they're not interested in doing it, we won't do it. But I think they'll enjoy it. Let's see, what else can I tell you at this time? Can't really think of anything. We're having some leftover barbecued ribs for supper that we did. Grandpa did them quite some time ago. And got some green beans, fresh ones, that I got over at Orange Blossom about a week ago, and I'd forgotten about them, but they hadn't been cleaned. But I don't know. We cleaned them now, and we put them in water. I don't know if they're going to be any good or not. I'll be able to tell a little more after they're freshened up a little bit. Grandpa said they're too soft, but we'll see. They might be all right. Let's see. Mail has been very scarce here. We haven't gotten a whole lot, and I'm sure you've heard by now that really nothing was taken from the house we're aware of. I'm a little bit more concerned. I've been thinking more and more now about credit cards. I know my Dillard's and Famous cards were left at home, and Grandpa's were too. Our Ma's card from down here we did forget, and Sheila couldn't find it, so we were in at Ma's. We did a little shopping today. Grandpa had to have some new T-shirts. So they gave us a temporary card while we're down here to use, so that took care of that. Grandpa, I'll let him finish telling you now. He's got his new thingies here, so he's laughing at me. But I'll let him give you the news on that. But anyway, we sure did enjoy your tape. It was fun hearing that you're so busy, and we're glad you're busy. And when you're busy, that always makes the time go faster. Today has been a pewy day here on the beach. Yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. But today it's cloudy again and quite windy. I just haven't figured this weather out down here, but I keep saying it's going to get better. It probably will about the time we head home. Anyway, that's about all I can tell you from right now, and I'll get back to you a little bit later, and I'll see if Grandpa wants to add a few things to this tape right now. Bye-bye. I love you.
Good afternoon. Your mother's talking awful loud, I'll tell you. I had to turn the television down twice. And my turn signals on my car sure make a lot of noise. I know you are laughing at what I'm saying, but that's right. However, I don't really think, Carol, that I missed very much before this, except now I don't have to be sure I'm on the right side of somebody, and I may not have had to have two of them, but I didn't want to go down the street with one headlight. So what I mean by that is that when I get used to these and get them balanced, I should say, I'm sure that it'll be a good thing for me to have. And you know, I got gray hair and I am old and I get Social Security, so I don't care what anybody thinks about what my ears look like. Anyway, these, as you might have guessed, cost a lot of money, and they are the smallest ones that you can get right now. Looking straight at me, you would not know that they were there. You would have to go around and look in my ear. Now that's pretty good, isn't it? I wouldn't say that it's somebody, you could see it if you looked at the side of your head, but they are very comfortable. I haven't had them now but 3-4 hours maybe, and they're very comfortable. You talked awful loud on your tape. Your mother had it turned up so she could hear it, and it was plenty loud for me. Anyway, enough of that. You're not really supposed to be too interested in that. Those are little things that happen to us when we get old. And
the eyes are next.
And Grandma said the eyes are next. I haven't worn my teeth for a couple of weeks now. I could wear them. They don't hurt me or anything, but I can't eat with them. The food is just a mess, and I can eat without them. Steak or prime rib or buffalo meat, rib or whatever. And you said that you had a friend in your group that ordered that and that he didn't get sick, and he did eat it. I suppose you didn't finish that. You said you tasted it. I would order something like that. That wouldn't, I mean, unless there was something that I really wanted real bad, I wouldn't mind ordering that. And we went out with Gateses last night, and I had prawns, broiled.
You had Danish lobster.
No, I didn't have prawns, but that's what they were. They're called Danish lobster tails, but they were prawns. I know the difference. So anyway, we ate right up the street here, and then we came back here and played Rummy Cube. And your mother won, I didn't. But somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. So, your tape was, as always, informative. You do a lot of stuff. You bawled me out for not calling you, but I don't feel that I ought to put that call on this phone down here. They've been nice enough to accept the calls that I make, and we've made a few more than we normally do from here to St. Louis. But I don't want to ruin a good thing, and we are sending tapes pretty often. I'm probably a couple up on you, wouldn't you guess? We mailed one today to you, and you won't probably get that. Well, I know you won't get it until you're back from New Zealand. So, but we enjoyed both of your tapes. The one from telling us about Hong Kong and Thailand and Singapore, which we have never been those places, and we enjoyed that. However, they do sound like tourist traps all over the world, wherever they are. Excuse me, I had to yawn. I paused it for a minute. I had to yawn. Thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't. I did take that tape that I had sent to you out on the porch that day that it was windy and Gulf was rolling pretty good. Well, the Gulf the waves aren't high today, really, but it's pretty loud. We have the window shut. Your mother said that it was pewy. Well, it is cloudy, and it is windy, but it is not cold. It's 70, and that's not bad for the middle of February. Mike, I didn't mean not to tell you about the robbery when you called me the other day. I guess maybe that I had put that out of my mind, and I really didn't think about it while we were on the phone. I don't remember our whole conversation, but we didn't get around to anything like that. We just were jabbering at the things that were on hand at the moment. And I really didn't mean to not tell you about it, because I wasn't trying to keep it from you, you know that. But this one wasn't as bad as the other one as far as taking anything, but they did break those two windows over the sink in the kitchen, and I really can't understand a grown man getting in there, but I guess maybe they are big enough if they broke them out. And Aunt Margaret is down here now, and she said that Clarence said that he fixed our storm door, our sliding glass doors. I hope that he would have it fixed professionally, because it is covered by insurance, and I'm sure that I'm going to have to pay the deductible anyway, so we might as well have it fixed right rather than I'm not putting Clarence down, but I mean, if he did a halfway job on it, why, we should have a full job on it. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. So, you spoke of having 4 fold-down golf carts in your car in golf clubs. I really can't picture having all of that in your trunks. But maybe you weren't in your car, I don't know. But that's all right. I just am trying to grope for something to say, I guess. You asked me about Calvin and his motorhome. He bought this motorhome evidently for about $10,000 or $12,000. It had been repossessed, and a car dealer in Kansas City had it, and Calvin came to find out after he bought it that his brother was the one that owned it. His brother owns about 12 car agencies up in Kansas City, and his brother was actually the one that owned it. But now they're not brothers like we would remember or talk about brothers, because if my brother wanted something that I had, and that an old beat-up motorhome, and my brother wanted it, I'd probably give it to him. I wouldn't even hesitate to say, well, because he hadn't had any takers, and it was sitting on his back lot. But anyway, that's beside the point. But Calvin has fixed it up, as you said, whatever it needed, put new tires on it, and he put new carpeting in it. I don't know if he had any work done on the engine. I don't know but they picked us up here, called us, and they came over and picked us up, and we went down to the Browns in that motorhome, the 4 of us. And we had called from here, and I knew that they had motel rooms down there. So we called, and we got 2 rooms down there for one night, and we could only have one of the rooms for the second night. But what they wanted to do, they'd come from Kansas City and been in that motorhome, and they needed a good night's sleep and a good hot shower, and so they were happy to take the room for one night down there, and we took ours for 2. And the second night they slept in their motorhome. And they rented a space right by Irv down there where his place was, and I think it was $18, so it was a lot cheaper than the motel room that we had, which was $60. It was in a place that they could get whatever they wanted. It wasn't a $60 motel room. It was just it was worse than well, I shouldn't say worse, but I mean, it wasn't as good as what we used to have over on 66. And our top price over there was about 25. And but anyway, we had a good visit with Irv and Teresa and Calvin and Doris, and we took Calvin's motorhome because he wasn't. Well, Irv's awning was out and all kinds of things. He pretty much to move his, but the six of us went in Calvin's motorhome, and we went up to Naples and Marco Island for a whole day, and we did shopping up there and just kind of looking around, and had dinner up there, and we got back. It was after dark when we got back, but it was a very pleasant day because we visited together en route, and as far as his motorhome goes, it's only a 28-footer, but it rides and drives just beautiful. I mean, you don't have to, Calvin wouldn't have to take a step backwards at all. However, it is a brand that you never heard of, Travel World or something. And I'd never heard of it, and neither had Irv, and neither had Calvin. But you didn't have to take a back seat because it had a shower and a potty, and it did. It ran real good. And he said it drove just like a car. I didn't drive it, but it was a nice day. And then we came back after 2 nights down there and came back up here, and we got him in a KOA RV park not too far from us. And then I went down and got him. We got back up here on a Friday, and we went up and got him, and we went out to dinner and took him back home. And then Saturday we went to the famous flea market. And we probably told you on the tape that you have already received well, you will have received before you receive this one. In fact, a lot of those things are on that tape, but I didn't elaborate on his motorhome on the other one. But anyway, after the flea market, we'd picked him up, or no, they took our car back to KOA and dressed, and then they came back. They were very hesitant about that. You know how Calvin is about driving somebody else's car. But they finally did. I just told him, I said, well, you just go ahead and take it. And so they did. And so that weekend was very good, and on Sunday they left, and they're back in Kansas City, I'm sure, by now. And something else to embarrass Calvin, I know you know how he is. They left something in the trunk of our car that he had purchased at the flea market, so we shipped it off to him, UPS. I think it cost us $5, and I think what he left in the car didn't cost him any more than $5 if it cost him $5. So he's going to be very unhappy when he gets that and sees the postage on there, knowing that we paid postage for him. You know, he is kind of touchy about things. He doesn't want to get anything that he could do for himself, you know. So anyway, they were sure nice to be with, and we enjoyed it very, very, very much. And we got a couple of pictures which we sent to you in the tape that we mailed today. So by the time you get this one, this will be old hat. But anyway, I'm like you always are when you start these tapes, and you know you got a whole hour to go, that you just try to use them up if you can, get enough on it that you can get it in the mail. So, Carol spoke of us going to see Crocodile Dundee. We did. There is a show, I've been a picture show, a theater up here, not too far from us, that on Mondays, senior citizens get in for 99 cents. And we happened to see that Crocodile Dundee was there on a Monday for 99 cents. So that's what we did. Got a big box of popcorn and did the thing. It was a short movie, though. But we got a lot of laughs out of it. It was funny. And excuse me, I'm yawning again. I don't know why. I got up too early, 6:45. We got another picture that we're going to see. I don't even know the name of it, but it isn't...
Outrageous fortune.
Oh, God, you hear her holler, Mike? She screamed like a... Man, I'm going to have to tone her down a little bit or turn mine down one. Gates has got a friend, and he's a friend of mine, too. Carol knows him. I don't know if you know him. His name is Ray Gainey, and he wears a hearing aid in each ear. And Gates and a few fellas, they go out to lunch every once in a while, and Gainey is one of them, and they make it up ahead of time. They're sitting at the table in the restaurant where they are, and these guys, all but Ray Gainey, he doesn't know that they're doing it, and they mouth things, but they don't talk. And he thinks his hearing aids are off, and he goes to screwing with them and getting them up, and they sit there and just chuckle and laugh and laugh and laugh. And they shouldn't do him that way, but he can't hear them because they're not saying anything, and so he starts turning his hearing aids up, and then that gives them all a laugh. Anyway, I wouldn't care if they did that to me. I'd just take them out. As you know, my hearing isn't, I'm not stone deaf without them, so it wouldn't make too much difference if I had them in or not, but it is a nice feeling to hear things, except that Grandma's going to have to quit talking so loud to me. So, let me see, Carol. You sent us a recipe for zucchini. You said I might like it. It's got zucchini in it, hasn't it? Is that the same as broccoli? No. Oh, and the stuff that you said here, all those gifts and everything, where's mine? You didn't send me one yet. Maybe mine's coming, huh? That toy elephant and that incense burner, they were kind of nice. So, let me see what else. You said I know that you've talked to Randy now. You said that you didn't know exactly when he was coming. He's going to arrive here on the 27th of February. And he's going to leave here on the 10th, I think. Something in that area. So anyway, he's going to get in here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so we will pick him up at the airport, and we had decided before we had heard your tape, and you told us that he couldn't afford to go to Disney World. Well, we had already decided. We've done everything but make reservations because we wanted to wait till they got here. But we were going to go over there and get us a room right in the complex, 2 rooms, and right in the complex, and get over there one morning and see Disney World, and I think that the Disney World will be more what young adults would want to do rather than to go to Epcot. Now, you probably would rather go to Epcot than you would ride Whirly-Durly or whatever the thing is, and the kids probably would like the other. And we thought we would do that and then take in the rest of it the next morning up until checkout time, and then check out and go down to Cypress Gardens, and we'll get 2 rooms down there again, and then the next morning we'll see Cypress Gardens and then come home that afternoon. So that will be really, we will only be gone from here 3 days and 2 nights, but unless when they get here they take one look at this beach and pool here, the heated pool, and by that time I hope the sunshine, and they may decide to stay right here, which that's all right as long as Cheryl and Randy don't try to get all the sun they can in the first day and then go to bed for 3 days, which it's pretty hard to tell people how to do that, as you well know. But it seems like that Cheryl probably has got a complexion very similar to Sheila's, and you can't do it. But they don't like Grandpa to tell them either, so we just have to tell them, and if they don't listen, why, then they spend those 3 days in the house, sometimes 4. So let me see. Mike, you're always interested in automobiles. My car is just fine. Somebody did run into it. I think I told you that on another tape, but they didn't hurt it any. Those plastic inserts on the back bumpers saved the fender, so the fender didn't get hurt at all. The only thing that got a little wrinkle in it was the chrome gravel guard on the bottom. It's about a 2-inch wide strip that goes along the bottom of the rear fender, and it got a wrinkle in it, and there's a few little abrasions on the plastic fake fender that's on the back. But anyway, if I didn't point it out to you, you wouldn't even see it. But the car is running just fine. I noticed the last couple days that I've got one turn light that's laboring. It doesn't go right. It is slow, and so I'm hoping that that's a bulb, but I don't know whether you realize it. You've been away from tinkering with your cars a little while, but you need a certain kind of screwdriver to take those lenses off to get to those lights, the bulbs. And it's not a Phillips, and it's not a regular. It's more of a sharp T or an X, kind of like an X, yeah. And I haven't got one of those, so I don't know whether I can buy one. I'm going to have to look at and see what size it is, or whether I'll have to take it into a dealer. I hate to take it into a dealer for that, but then it is still under warranty, so I guess it doesn't really matter. It's all right if I do that. So I'm looking out, and the sun's not out. It's still cloudy. The pelicans are flying around here, but they're not diving, so the fish must not be out here.
Click off?
No, it didn't click off. Did you hear her hollering at me again? She said she's going to open the door. She just got through telling you how cold and miserable it was up here. Now she's opening it. So it's all right with me. I don't mind if she opens the door. You're having real warm weather, it sounds like, down there. So let's see. Hazel and Darrell have been here for their week or 10 days, and they're evidently supposed to have left today to go over to Titusville. I think your mother told you, Carol, on the other tape that they were going over there. Glenn is not well. He's been in and out of the hospital 2 or 3 times, and we understand now that he's back in the hospital, and they said that if he has to go in again, which he did now, that it was going to be a bypass. So they did the balloon thing with him a couple times, and they can't do that anymore, evidently. So we're sorry to hear that, and we will keep you posted if anything develops, good or bad, from that. So I guess maybe I better cut it off. I've talked a long, long time, and now she's thought of a whole bunch of stuff that I made her think of through my conversation that I probably didn't say right. So I'll say goodbye for this time. Goodbye.
Carol, I failed to tell you when I was talking to you before that the opal necklace is just lovely. It's very, very pretty. And Robin's little ring, I'm real pleased with it. I hope she's as happy with it as I am. It looks like it's a real nice stone. Of course, I don't know anything about the stones, but they both certainly look nice. And I will tell Audrey when I see her, if I get to see her before they go on their cruise, about her sheepskins. But maybe you've already enclosed a little note to her. I don't know. But I'll say what I can find out about it anyway. That's all for now. I love you. Bye-bye.
I don't know if I got any clicks left on here at all, Mike. It maybe is about ready to turn off. I kid you about the clicks because I don't have any clicks anyway. But I was going to, when you said you had 200 clicks left on yours, I was going to look at mine and see about how much that is on it, but I didn't. So this side is just about over, and I have just been sitting here rambling on, and probably a very boring conversation because I was just talking, that's all. So You're in New Zealand now, I know that, and you'll have a little bit more to tell us when you get back from there. So I'll say goodbye again, and I'm sure this thing is about to click off if it doesn't before I quit. So goodbye for now. Goodbye. I just walked out on the porch, and I wanted you to hear the Gulf of Mexico again. We don't have high waves today, but they're sure making a lot of noise, especially with these new hearing aids. I'm sure you can hear those. Just one follows another right on in. And I don't know why this thing hasn't shut off yet, but I didn't have any more to say. Well, that's music to your ears when you're sleeping tonight. Go 1987 Florida day, cloudy. However, it is not cold, but it's not really very comfortable to sit outside either. There's a slight wind. The Gulf is very calm, not doing anything, and it's supposed to get in the upper 70s today. I don't know whether it'll make it or not, but I'm sure it's 70 now. I picked this thing up because I was just watching The Price is Right, and somebody won a trip to Hong Kong aboard United Airlines, and they were going to have a 6-night stay at the, I believe it, if I got it right, was the Golden Mile Holiday Inn. That sounds familiar. You'll have to correct me, but it sounds like the one that you possibly did stay in when you were in Hong Kong. I don't have a whole lot to report. It's Friday. Randy arrives next Friday, so we've got that to look forward to. We haven't heard anything from home with any news to it, just the usual mail. And Marguerite and Louise are still here. We saw them yesterday. They're going to go home Tuesday. They've been here 2 weeks. Excuse me, I had to yawn. I don't suppose you can hear my television in the background because I just barely got it up. I got my new ears in, and I don't need it up very high. Your mother will come. She just went over to Goldie's for a few minutes. She had sharpened some slacks that Margaret had gotten, and they couldn't get them sharpened before she left on Tuesday, so your mother did it. And she'll come in here and say she can't hear the television, so how does that grab you? And she walks around this house talking loud like she always used to, and I tell her she doesn't have to holler. So it's kind of interesting. They don't bother me one bit, except that I am aware that there's something in my ears. But they don't hurt or anything. And the only comical thing that happened to me, and I think maybe I told you on the other side of this tape, I don't know, but I got a haircut yesterday, so I don't guess I did tell you on the other side. I got a haircut yesterday, and I had these hearing aids in, and the barber picked up these clippers, and he went right over that ear, and the thing started screaming. He says, "You better take that out." I said, "Well, I forgot the thing was in there, but I didn't know to do that anyway." Started making a squeaking noise. So that was a little comical. But I do walk out here in the yard, and I can hear the doves cooing and the birds singing that I don't imagine that I heard before. I really never paid any attention because I didn't hear them. But anyway, I'm just rattling on as usual. I know that right now, this morning, you are in New Zealand. And you're probably asleep right now. It's 11:30 here, so that would make it somewhere in the early morning hours, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30. But anyway, we'll be anxiously awaiting the results of that trip, and also getting the pictures that you said you might send, you're going to be getting some more, so you won't, you'll be picture broke if you're not careful. If you don't have to keep them and you decide to send me the negatives, I'll have them developed. You don't have to go to that expense for us. It's just a thought. You do it as you want to. You might not want to turn loose of the negatives. Got a card, thank you card from Calvin and Doris. They didn't really owe us a thank you card. They didn't do anything here. We did eat a couple of meals here, but they didn't sleep here. And they took us on the motorhome. You knowing Calvin, I couldn't even buy any gasoline down there. He did allow me to pay my $126 motel, though. He didn't pay that. I didn't think he would. But anyway, it was very nice of them, but they were just couldn't say enough about how we treated them, which we really didn't do anything, except it is nice to have somebody that knows their way around a little bit when you got a 30-foot motorhome rather than having to turn around and do things. We didn't have any of that here because I gave him plenty of notice when to get over in the left lane and when to not to. So anyway, they appreciated that, and we enjoyed having them. Haven't heard from Gordy or Dot, and that's probably our fault. We were over there for Super Bowl, and we haven't talked to them since, and we haven't called them. But I'm sure we'll get together with them now. We went up to Gates's last night again and played Rummy Cube. They sure like to play cards or something. I guess they get bored like we do. The television it's hard to get with it. Here I get, it comes on Eastern time, and it's so late that I go to bed. But if we're playing cards or something, why, I don't get tired. So I don't know what the answer to that is, but that's what happens. So outside of that, we did laundry this morning. That's a chore because we have to take it in a basket up the elevator. Well, at least we don't have to put it in the car and go down the street, but we usually have 2 loads, and we can put 1 load on the 2nd floor and 1 on the 3rd, or the 4th, whichever a washer is open, and we go back up and get them. So that's kind of exciting, isn't it? I could guess maybe that I have hogged this tape, so I'm going to cut it off for a little while and let Grandma get back to you. Unless somebody calls or something, we plan on staying in tonight. Tonight's Friday. And it seems like that we enjoy going out on middle of the week, like Tuesday or Thursday, and then staying in on Friday and Saturday because but it's crowded no matter what day it is now. It wasn't in January, but boy, she sure is now. We had an hour wait last night at the boat. And you said you remembered the boat. I don't remember you being on the boat, but I'm sure you were. And but they have good food there too. So, but we had an hour wait. I don't know. We met another couple. We got a table finally, and we invited that couple to sit down because we appreciate somebody asking us to sit down when we're standing. And they were from Buffalo, where it's cold. And, well, that's all. We just enjoyed talking to them. So I'm going to let this thing rest a while. I just picked it up because I heard of that guy that was staying at the Golden Mile Holiday Inn. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Goodbye. Hello down there. This is Saturday the 21st of February. I know you're still in New Zealand. In fact, you just got there. Had to shut it off for a minute. I had to sneeze. Just finished eating lunch. It's 20 minutes after 1. Had a bowl of chicken soup. We had chicken and noodles you know, those Reese's noodles, and for supper last night, and we had a bunch of it left. I had to sneeze again. I guess that's because I ate too much. I usually sneeze in the evenings after I eat too much, and now I ate too much chicken soup. Sneeze, but it was full of those egg noodles and chicken and goodies. As I told you yesterday, we got another typical 1987 February day. The sun has not been out yet. It is very cloudy and very dark over the horizon on the Gulf. It lightens up a little once in a while, but it isn't raining. We went out a little while this morning, and it did sprinkle. Very fine mist, but it never did rain hard enough to get us wet. I guess you can hear the surf in the background. It's really not coming in that high. In fact, it's very little. Yesterday there wasn't any surf at all. It just kind of, just maneuvered a little bit. As I said, we were out this morning. We had to go over to the Orange Blossom and get some orange juice. And your mother saw some imperfect grasshopper tennis shoes, so you know she wouldn't buy the good stuff. So we went over there, and she tried to get a good pair and put it in with her imperfects, and they told her to take it back or pay for them. So that fixed her on that. We got back, didn't get any mail today. Well, got one little something that didn't amount to anything. And it's Saturday, as I said. I don't know what the ants are doing, or Goldie and Charlie. They're gone, so I don't really blame them, because if it's a day like today and they can't sit in their garage and look at the view across the street, why, they might as well go someplace. But we at least got the Gulf here to look at, and it is interesting because it's always changing. And occasionally there's somebody strolling by today. It isn't really cold. I'm sitting out on the porch now with no sweater on or anything. But there is something to watch here anyway. I don't know if I told you, but we got a card from the Panahoffs telling us how much they missed us, and that they went down to the lake the week before, and it was 60 degrees, and they made a mistake and didn't leave early enough Sunday and got in slick ice before they got back to St. Louis, but said that Greg had a chance to sell his boat, but the guy backed out, so no, he's still got it for sale. And he's still got his house for sale. He hasn't sold his house. So it sounded kind of like that he was in limbo with his projects up there. But he might be asking too much for both the house and the boat. We had heard he wanted $50,000 for the boat, and I'm sure he didn't pay $30,000. So he might wise up one day when he has to sell it and sell it. We got a thank you note from the Van Tiles, and they didn't, I told you that, I think. They didn't really have anything to thank us about, but they did. Yeah, I did tell you that. But no other news. We talked to your neighbor, Andy and Carol, last night. And by the time you get this tape, you will already know what they told me, but Andy got his retirement date of March the 20th this year. So that's only 20 days from yesterday, and 28 days from yesterday, and 20 working days. So Lily also said that Howard George had a for sale sign in his yard. He doesn't know what he's asking for it. I said, why don't you call up the real estate people? He said, I've got a friend that's going to call him. I don't want to call him. So he said he heard he was wanting $80,000. And Howard George and Marge had a flu fire. Let's see, yesterday was Friday. They must have had it Thursday in their flu. And that's because of the fireplace. He burned a lot of wood, you know, and if you don't clean that sucker out once in a while, you can get a flue fire. And you may know it, but Andy said they had one last year, too. So anyway, that was the news of your neighborhood. Was that Georgia's had a flue fire, and they had their house up for sale, and Laskowitz is retiring. So that's really all of that news that he told us. By the looks of the way this tape is going, I'm going to get this in the mail, so it'll be there when you get back from New Zealand. I saw in the paper that New Zealand was in the 70s yesterday, so I guess that's normal for your time of the year. Sydney was 78, and it was 78 here, too, yesterday. And it was supposed to go to 78 today, and I don't know if it's going to make it. I'm sure it's in the 70s, but there's a wind chill here today, so it doesn't feel like 70. But I know you can hear that surf splashing. It's not rolling in here high or anything. It's just breaking here at the edge, and that's the way it sounds. So I guess maybe that I'll say goodbye for this time. We're eating in tonight. We're going to have a filet mignon and a baked potato and some fresh asparagus that we got with a little milk and butter on it. So that ought to make you hungry for America. Don't really know anything else. We haven't heard from anybody else to tell you any news. We haven't heard from Randy. And like I told you yesterday, he'll be in a week from yesterday, which is just 6 days from now. So we will talk to home on Sunday, and I'll put some more on this tape tomorrow after we talk to Sheila and Ron if he's not out on a hike. And so I'm going to say goodbye for this time. Goodbye. Well, good morning again down there. We're up here. And I know you're still in New Zealand, but then I can still talk to you as if it were today, because that's what it's going to sound like when you hear it. This is Sunday morning. Well, it's really afternoon now. It's 10 minutes after 12. And we just finished talking to Ron, and he has nothing to report. Nothing bad. How's that? He said he's feeling just great. So that means he's recovered, I guess. And it didn't take the 9 months that Kathy was spreading around. Kathy's Grandma Jones is home with a pacemaker and supposed to get therapy, and Grandpa Jones said he can give it to her, so they're arguing about that. So anyway, that's their problem, but she is home. They didn't have any news about Robin's big escapade now that she's involved in. So they really didn't have anything to say at all, except that he felt good and the weather was pretty good. Said it wasn't bad at all. Yesterday was a nice day, and today looks like it was going to be equally as nice. And this morning, about 8:30 here, 7:30 Springfield time, Sheila called, and she's going to get her tickets tomorrow, I guess. That's Monday. And she arrives here on right on the 13th, Friday the 13th, at 1:03 a.m. So she thought she got here on the 13th, but she leaves Springfield on the 13th. But Florida time, she arrives on the 13th. She leaves Springfield on the 12th. She's coming Northwestern, has got a half-hour layover in Memphis, and then of course there's a time change, and that's why it is that long. She leaves Springfield about 10:30 p.m. She did that in order to get the cheaper rate, which I'm glad that she was thinking, because us being at the airport at 1 o'clock in the morning doesn't really make that much difference. So we got a sunny day today. How you like that? Yesterday it was cloudy all day, as I told you, and it rained yesterday afternoon, just poured. And we went up to Gates's last night and played Rummy Cube. We're out till about 12:30. and it wasn't raining when we came home, but it rained during the night some more because the cars were wet this morning. But a lot of people walking the beach today. They've been in the shopping centers all this week, I guess, or in their condos or apartments or whatever they got because it was so bad. Well, it looks like spring break down here. There goes about 12 guys, all men, all young guys, with those jammies on. I haven't gotten me any of those yet. But there wasn't any gals with them. They were all just about a dozen guys. But anyway, it's sunny enough to shed down your wool clothes and get in your sunning clothes and do your thing. I guess you can hear the surf in the background. There again, it's not high, but it is kind of noisy. Noisier than it used to be, Carol, because I've got my hearing aids in. And it is noisier. I want your mother to say a few words. I think I've hogged most of this tape. It's not that I hogged it. It's just the fact that she hasn't been able to take the time to get in on it. So I want her to have a little conversation with you before it's over, and we will get it in the mail, and it hopefully will be there waiting for you when you get back from New Zealand. So I'm going to cut this off for a few minutes, and she'll get back to you. I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Well, I'm out here on the porch now, and there's about a half a dozen people in the pool. So they must have gotten that heater working. I told you they evidently were having problems with it because nobody was in it. I just assumed that it was very cold, but it evidently has warmed up a little bit. That noise might be a little bit too much for us, so I'll play it back a little ways. If so, I will go inside and do the rest of this.
Good afternoon, family. It's been a long time since we've talked to you on the tape, and I'm not going to talk very long because there isn't much left on this tape, and I figured Sheila and, start over. Cheryl and Randy might want to say hello to you. Today is Thursday, March the 5th, and we did just receive a card from you from New Zealand telling us how beautiful it is. So I know you must have had a wonderful trip, but I'll cut this short for now because as soon as they finish this tape, we're going to get it in the mail to you tomorrow. We love you, and we'll start another tape right quick. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's me. Having a great time here down in Florida. We've been to Cypress Gardens and Busch Gardens, and both of them were a lot of fun. We've had some nice days. It rained one day, and we had one kind of cool day. But other than that, the weather's been really good. Today it's real windy, but it's warm. We've been in the Gulf once. It's pretty chilly. Sorry for the pause there. I had to think of something else to say. We've been out to dinner a few times, and we've been to some really good fish places here, and the fish is really good. Even Randy's enjoying fish, believe it or not. We've played putt-putt at the Golf up here where Randy won his tournament a lot of years ago when he was a little kid. So we went back there and played. Of course, he's beaten me both times, but that's okay. But it's really neat, and we've had a good time there. And then we drove around John's Pass down here on the boardwalk, and we went to the flea market. That was the first thing we did. Of course, that was quite the experience there, but it was a lot of fun. It was neat to see. So I picked up a few items there, and we went to the orange groves, and we sent some fruit home. And mostly we've just been trying to enjoy the weather and going out to the beach and just walking, taking walks, and just enjoying the scenery and the nice weather. Of course, when you know it, back in Omaha, it's 74 degrees yesterday. So that's par for the course, I suppose. Tomorrow we're going to a place called Wikiwachi, which is where you can go watch. They have girls that are dressed up like mermaids, and they have a show and things like that. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And no plans for Saturday. We've kind of had one day of plans, and next day we don't have any plans. So it's worked out really well. Can't think of much else to say other than that we're having a great time. And I've really enjoyed my first trip to Florida. So I guess I'll turn it over to Randy and let him say a few words, because you probably haven't heard his voice in a while. So here he is.
Well, I wasn't too far away, obviously, because she didn't have to turn the machine off. Cheryl just mentioned that we had been to Cypress Gardens and to Busch Gardens. She didn't bother to tell you much about it. I'm sure it's been quite a few years since either one of you were at Cypress Gardens. They've got a ice show there now where they actually have ice skating. I was a little surprised to see that. It was a good show. That was the first thing we did in the morning. We got into Cypress, I guess, at 9 or 9:30, and the show started at 10, I believe. It was kind of hard to believe, though, that they had ice skating show down here in southern Florida. The water show was as spectacular as I remembered. They have to constantly change it, I guess, or that people would get bored watching it, but I certainly didn't get bored. It was kind of fun. And you guys might remember down at the Lake of the Ozarks that 14-year-old girl that could ski on a canoe paddle, the one that prompted me to learn to do that. Well, she's now skiing at Cypress Gardens, but I think I'll let her have this piece of the limelight. I don't think I could ski at her competitive level these days. They've also now got a Teflon-coated ski jump at Cypress Gardens, a snow ski jump that these guys ski down, do all kinds of flips and twists in the air, and they land in the pool. At the other end of that same pool is the high diving platforms and so forth, and they have 10 divers there and do a lot of simultaneous diving and so forth. And they spend, 5 or 10 minutes of the water portion of the show, the swimming portion of the show, and the synchronized swimming, which was, it was really nothing spectacular. It's kind of, the television camera does a lot more for synchronized swimming because you can get a picture of it from the top and it looks a lot different. But the athletes, I suppose, are well trained, and we should at least devote our attention to the fruits of their labors. We took the little boat ride through the gardens, through all the plants and the flowers, and it's just as beautiful as I had remembered. We were trying to think how long it had been since I was there, and came up to at least, since I've been to Cypress Gardens, it's probably been at least 15 years. So you guys could probably put a little better date on that than I could. But yesterday, Wednesday, we went to Busch Gardens, where I had never been before. Grandma and Grandpa were both kind of surprised that I had not been there. But they got a music, dance, kind of a variety show there now at a place called the Moroccan Palace that just opened this year. It was really a spectacular show. They had some talented dancers and singers there. It was a great show. Then we rode the monorail all through the park that takes over the animals, and they've got quite a collection of African-type animals, what I consider African animals. Elephants and giraffes and zebras and so forth. We also saw the dolphin show out at Busch Gardens, and it was good, just like any other dolphin show, I guess, that we've been fortunate enough to see. Went to a German thing for lunch called the Festhaus, F-E-S-T-H-A-U-S, where while we were finishing up our lunch, they had a German band and German dancers come on stage. That was kind of fun. We've had, the show mentioned earlier that we've had a day off every time after we had an activity, and it's worked out good, not only for us but for Grandma and Grandpa, because the walk-ins are tough on them all day long like that. We've been keeping them kind of on the go. So the day off has been kind of nice to have. We're supposed to leave Sunday about 3:30, and I'm sure we'll have another uneventful flight home. Our flight down here was the first time I'd ever flown on a DC-10, I think, Pop. We flew from Chicago to Tampa on a DC-10, and I didn't think I'd ever been on one before. That's a nice airplane. Sheila, I guess, is coming in the week. Grandma and Grandpa got a week off, and then I think Sheila's here, and she'll probably keep them on the go too, although she does like to spend a little more time on the beach than we do. Well, I'm sure by now you've gotten our letter and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can answer our question about the little stone that you sent to Cheryl. I'm carrying my money clip now as I was thinking about the stuff that we got from you. It's working out terrifically also. Anyway, we're looking forward to your return in August, and I think I'm probably going to take a couple days of my other week's vacation and come down to St. Louis when you get home and see what I can help you get squared away. Well, it's getting warmer today. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s. The wind's out of the east, so the Gulf is pretty calm. It's kind of hazy. I wouldn't say it's real cloudy, but it's just kind of hazy. The sun's not shining real bright. That's about all I know for now, and I don't know how much is left on this tape, so we'll have to check it. But if we don't get it finished up between Grandma and Grandpa and Cheryl and I today, we'll finish her up tomorrow. I love you, and we'll talk to you. Bye.
Okay, you guys down under, you got me this time. And we got very little left on this tape, so if it quits right in the middle of my conversation, why, you'll forgive me. Randy didn't tell you that we had been down to the boat, which he thought was a great place to go. And we've been to Lever Rocks. Tonight we're going to Spoto's, where they have that great big rib. Barbecued rib, that is. It's a baby back. And tomorrow night, we're going, after we come back from Weeki Wachee, we're going to the Hungry Fisherman. So you know that we are not starving those kids. I didn't mean that they acted like we were, but they are enjoying every minute of it, I think. And I'm not making it very expensive for them, as you guys know. So that ought to handle that. Randy told you that Sheila is coming in next week, and we're looking forward to having her. Hardell's got here today, and they're going to dinner with us to Spoto's tonight. And they had met Hardell's, so I don't think Cheryl had, but Randy had. But anyway, they thought they were very nice, and so we're going with them. We're going over there for cocktails before we leave to go to Spoto's. And let's see, Goldie and Charlie are going home this weekend. They say Aunt Louise wants them to come home, so this thing is going to quit, so I'm going to say goodbye like I usually